Welcome to CIT180, HTML and CSS Programming. I am your instructor, Lisa Ballback, and I'm going to be giving you a brief overview of what you need to be working on during this very first week of class. So what you're seeing at the top under Instructor Information is my office phone, my NMC email, and my office number. And I'm in the James Beckett building on the very first floor. My on-campus hours are Monday from 3 to 6 p.m. and Tuesday from 5:15 to 7:15 p.m. I purposefully set up longer blocks of on-campus office hours so that I can help people if you have problems. It gives me a little bit more time to work with people. So if you have problems installing or getting started, feel free to stop by during these office hours, and I'm happy to help you. I also have online office hours. I'm going to be using Zoom conferencing software, and they are Sunday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. So how they will work, and we're going to start them on January 20th. How they're going to work is I will send you an invitation to a Zoom meeting. I will send that invitation through your NMC email, and then you can click the link to join me. The online hours are not required. They are totally optional, but feel free to come in and ask questions. If you're having problems installing any of the software, if you have questions, that is a great time to ask because that is conferencing software. So if you have a webcam, I will be able to talk to you directly, and it allows us to share desktops. So you will be able to share your desktop with me, and I can help you figure out whatever the problem is. Okay, so anytime throughout the semester that you're having an issue, please feel free to come to my online hours or my on-campus hours. And if those don't work for you, we can figure out a different time to meet, either on campus or online. You just need to communicate with me. Right below our lovely course banner, we have several buttons that take you to resources that are tutorials that you can utilize. If you read through the book and you're still a little fuzzy on something, the W3C site is excellent, and it breaks everything down to pretty small components. So if you're confused about how to insert images or how to do links, you can see over here that they have topics on pretty much every area of HTML. And basically the same thing goes for CSS. We do get a little bit into JavaScript at the end of the course. And if you wanted to learn more, there is a button that will take you to the tutorial on that as well. Below all of these buttons, we have our CIT department social media links. And what we typically put on social media would be job information. So quite often employers will send us their job postings, and we post it to social media for our students. We also have internships posted, and we have quite a few events throughout the year that we will also post to social media, along with photographs of the events. What I do in addition to all of that is if we do have events, and we will have several this semester, I will actually post a little banner below the buttons that will tell you about the event, what the date is, and then there's a link that you can click on to get more information. You know, as far as the address, the time frame, all of that fun stuff. Okay? So I really think you should take advantage of this. It's a huge resource for students, and it will definitely help you in the future, especially if you need an internship in any computer area. News and announcements from your instructor. This is where I will post, and I post weekly, announcements basically telling you that I've completed correcting lesson 1, or I've completed correcting lesson 2, and then that lets you know that you can go look in the drop boxes for feedback and to see how many points you received. In this class, for your web assignments, I do allow you to correct errors and resubmit. So you definitely, when you see the announcement that I've corrected, you definitely are going to want to go and look in the Dropbox to make sure you got all the points, because if you didn't, I will take points off and I will let you know that you can fix it and resubmit it, okay? Because that's a big part of learning when you're working on computers, is correcting your mistakes. You learn a lot more by correcting mistakes than you do keying in everything perfectly. Okay, so I do want you guys to correct your errors, and I will give you back the points that you missed. Student questions and answers is for you guys to ask each other questions, and they don't have to really be related to course material. So if there's an event coming up and you want to know if anybody else, from class is going, you can post it to the student question and answer. Okay, so it's a way for you guys to interact with each other. I don't typically look in that section. So if there's a question that you have about an assignment, it's probably better to ask me directly because obviously I would know the answer. So not as good to post it to student questions because your classmates may not know the correct answer, especially if it's dealing with an assignment. Then below all of that, we get into the lesson blocks. And we have about 14 or 15 blocks in this class, and I obviously don't have them all open. It's a little overwhelming if you see all of them open at once. So I'll have usually a couple open the current week and the following week. And so right now we are in lesson 1, and you can see that each block does have a date range. And the current blocks will be listed first, okay? So you guys are going to be working on lesson 1 this week. And you'll notice that it goes from the 11th through the 20th. The 20th is the day that everything is due, okay? And for lesson 2, you'll notice it goes from the 20th to the 27th. The 27th is the day that everything is due. Okay, so you're going to open up the block. And at the top, it pretty much tells you when things are due, and then it tells you exactly what you need to complete. And the list for lesson 1 is rather lengthy. Nothing is very time consuming. A lot of it is simply housekeeping tasks, okay? They're getting things ready for the course. So under course information and orientation, watching the course video, which is what we're in right now, that would be the first task. And then I do have a welcome message that you're going to want to read through, because it basically outlines how the course is set up and tells you what my expectations are. And after you finish the welcome message, then you're going to want to take a look at the course syllabus. And this kind of just reiterates my office hours. It gives you a description of the course. Probably what you're going to be most interested in is the grading scale and what you're going to be accumulating in points doing. So this basically tells you what the assignments are all about. Okay, so you're definitely going to want to read through that. And then there's a link to the college syllabus, which is pretty much the same for every single course. And they're just different college requirements. So if you click on that, it's college policies, the safety video is here, just different information, different things you need to know that's college-wide. Below that is our course assignment schedule. This is something that you're going to want to print out. And you'll notice that what we've got for each week, I basically took this information and I put it here at the top of the course. So what you see here pretty much matches up with what you're seeing here week by week. So it just outlines what you need to do. And I would definitely print this. And then as you complete things, you can just cross it off the list. And it is important that you pay attention to what pages you need to read, because we never read a complete chapter. So for this first lesson block, you're going to be reading chapter 1 in the book, but it's only pages 1 through 16. It's not the whole entire chapter. And then you'll notice in chapter 2, we have a couple different page ranges, but it is not the entire chapter. Okay, so I would definitely print this out. And then as you complete things, you can just cross them off. So after you look at the schedule and print it, next task is to come down to the discussion exercise. And this is where you're going to introduce yourself to your classmates and tell them a little bit about yourself so that you guys can get to know each other. And so I did an example, and I tend to overshare. So if you don't want to share as much, that is fine. Only post what you're comfortable with. But this actually gives you a little insight into what my background is and what I do with the very little free time that I have. So you're going to want to post to that because it is worth some points. And for the discussion exercises, what I've done is I have created a Dropbox where I put feedback. You don't have to submit anything to it. But I like to give people individual feedback on their discussion postings. So this is how I'm doing it. So nobody else will see my feedback. It's only going to be to you. Then below our orientation activities, we get into our first textbook chapter. So you're going to read pages 1 through 16, and then you're going to read through the lecture, which kind of expands on what the book is talking about. And then you're going to do the quiz. The quiz is open book, open note. So all of the questions on that quiz have come from the book or the notes. Googling for answers is not a good strategy for doing well on the quiz, because I wrote the quiz and I didn't Google for the answers. I looked in the book and the notes. So that is what you're going to want to use for reference material. You can only take the quiz once, okay? And there is no time limit on it. And it's open book, open note. So I do expect you to look things up if you don't know the answer. That's how you do well on those quizzes. So once you've completed the orientation activities and the textbook chapter and quiz, your next task is to come down here and download and install the software. So for an editor for our web pages, we're using Visual Studio Code, and it's free. So this link takes you to the download page. So you're going to want to download and install that. VS Code is an industry standard for developers. And I can tell you, I went to a conference in San Jose, a web developer conference, and they actually asked how many people were using VS Code, and almost every hand went up. It was amazing. So this is definitely a program that you should try. Even if you've been using other editors, I encourage you to try this one because it is used throughout our industry. Filezilla is another software program that you're going to need to download because you will be transferring your web pages to a web server. It's actually a server that I pay for. I have space on that server, and I am allowed to create student accounts. So I will be creating your account, okay? And you will be transferring to that server and you will be able to pull up all of your pages live online. So this is the software you need to transfer your pages. Then the last thing you need to download are the different web browsers, because pages look different on different web browsers. And so you are definitely going to want to check your pages on more than one browser. If you have a Windows machine, you are going to want to download and install the top 4. Safari is no longer supporting Windows, so you are not going to be able to download Safari, but Chrome, Firefox, Opera, and Microsoft Edge, you can download and install. And Edge typically displays things a little differently than Chrome and Firefox, which is why it's really important that you check your pages on more than one. So that's pretty much what you need to do for week 1. And if you're curious what this little block at the bottom is, so this is just different sites that I posted that you guys can use for resources. So there's HTML and CSS, 3 resource sites, different tutorials. I've even got books that I got free. They're open source books, and I posted them here. So everything that's under HTML5 and CSS3 relates to this class. We do a little JavaScript in here, but a lot of what you're seeing in this section relates to our CIT180, which is the next course in this web sequence. So if you're looking for some summer reading, you can actually download any of these. And then there's different software and application resources, some image editing resources. If you want to know more about design, I've got links to different design resources as well. And at the bottom, there are some free courses that you can take. One on Google Analytics, and MongoDB has a ton of them. So these are all just for you if you're interested in furthering your professional development. Feel free. I put those in there because I thought they would be useful. Okay, so what you need to be concerned with for this first week is completing everything that's in this section. Okay, and that should be done by January 20th. And if you remember, I do have office hours. I will have them on Sunday evening, the 20th. So if you run into any snags or problems, feel free to stop by to the online hours or come in to my campus hours. Okay? You don't need an appointment. It's an open door policy. You just stop by and I'm happy to help. I'm also willing to meet with you outside of these hours. You just need to communicate with me and let me know when you're available, and I can check my schedule to see when I'm available. So I'm really excited that you're in this class. This is a really fun course. You get to be creative. You'll be making up your own web pages, and the skills that you're going to be gaining are very valuable, and it will make you more employable. So I want you all to be successful, so feel free if you got questions, concerns, just let me know.